welcome to our today's class. Subject today is business calculations and statistics, and our topic today is measures of dispersion. So that's what we are going to look today. So we want to understand what is measures of dispersion. So basically it is a measure of how spread out a set of data is. So how a spread out of a set of data is, that is what we are calling measures of dispersion. So the word dispersion basically is from the word disperse. That's why we are saying it is a measure of how spread out a set of data is, and so on. So basically from there we are going to look at methods of measuring dispersion. So methods of measuring dispersion. Methods of measuring dispersion. So number one, range. So this is one of the methods you can measure dispersion. So number two, quartile. Deviation. Number three, standard deviation. And number four, Lorentz curve. So these are the methods which you can use when you are measuring dispersion and so on. And so for today, you are going to concentrate on the first one. So basically on the range is what we are going to discuss for today. So we want to know what is range and how basically we can use it to calculate the measure of dispersion. So basically a range is just defined as the difference between the largest number in a data set minus the lowest number in a data set. So basically it's just the difference between the largest value and the smallest value in a data set. And the formula for range, so is equals to, so formula range is equals to L minus S. So L minus S. So and then coefficients of range is equals to L minus S over L plus S. So basically now what you want to understand is what is L and what is S. So L is equals to largest value in a distribution, and S smallest value in a distribution. So that's you need to understand which values are these, so and so on. So now from when you're able to understand from the question which is the largest value and which is the smallest value, so you just pick and you replace in our formula. So we're going to start by doing an example. So an example, so the following are the prices of shares of ABC Company Limited. So the following are the prices of shares of ABC Company Limited. So the following are the prices of, so day, prices in shillings, Monday 200, Tuesday 210, Wednesday 208, Thursday 160, Friday 200, Saturday 250. So using that information, so required find range. So basically the question says required find range. So we are going to use our formula. So range, basically we have said range is equals to L minus S. So we are going to look at the largest value from our data and the smallest value. So if you look at our data, the largest value is 250 and the smallest value is 160. So that's what we are going to look at. So when you use your calculator, 250 minus 160 is equals to 90. So 90 is our range. So then also find range, and using the same information we are also looking for coefficient of range. So and we are saying the formula is L minus S over L plus S. So we're just going to use the same values. So the largest value is 250 minus 160 over 250 plus 160. Okay, so when you do the mathematics, so it will be 90, the subtraction, so plus, so 250 plus 160, so it will be 410. So when you divide, it will give you 0.22. So our coefficient of range is 0.22. So that's what we are talking about. So we can also have a second example of range. This time around using continuous data, or what we call grouped data. So max, so example 2, max number of students. Just going to use the same table. So those who scored between 10 to 20 were 8. Those who scored between 20 to 30 were 10. Those who scored between 30 to 40 were 12. Those who scored between 40 to 50 were 8. Those who scored between 50 to 60 were 4. So we are being told to look for range. So basically find, the question is find range. So on this scenario, basically we want to look at we have been given a group data. So range is equal, so just the same formula. Okay, so range is equals to L minus S. So basically in this case, so we want to ask ourselves which is the L and which is the S. So from the information which we have been given, so the L and also S. So we look at, we want to know from our data. So number of students, the number of students, the highest number of students who scored there, it is 10. So we get to know the difference between the two. So the number of students they scored between 20 to 30 and so on. So we need to be able to know, and the lowest number of students, they scored 4. Those who scored 4 were between 52 to 60 and so on. So calculate that and you give the answer. So in this case, we want basically to know how do we get 15, how do we get the lowest value and how do we get the highest value. So that's what we are saying, the lowest value and the highest value. So sorry, the largest value and the smallest value. So in this case, or in our, how do basically our, when it comes to, we look at the lowest class level and the highest class level. So the lowest is 10 to 20, the highest is 50 to 60. So you get the interval, or I will get 50 plus 60 and I divide by 2. So if I do that, I will get 55. So I'll also get this plus this and I divide by 2. I'll get, so in this scenario, normally look at the class level. So the marks, so those who scored between 10 to 20, these were the lowest, and those who scored between these to these are the highest. So you look at the highest minus the lowest, but in this case you take plus the 2, then you divide by 2, you plus the 2, you divide by 2. So in this scenario, 55 minus 15. So do your calculation and what is the answer? So the answer is 40. Okay, so 40 is our answer for that question. So from there also you look for coefficient range. So it will be L minus S over L plus S. So in this case, it will be 55 minus 15 over 55 plus 15. So this already, you know, is 40 over 55 plus 15, which will give us 70. So when you divide, you get 0.57 and so on. So basically, don't confuse. When you are given a group data, we have said we follow the class interval. So we look at the lowest class interval and the highest class interval. So the lowest class interval is our smallest value. The highest class interval is our largest value. So that's why, and you divide by 2 for you to get the figure. So that's why we have taken 50 plus 60 divided by 2, we got 55. Then we get 10 plus 20, we divide by 2, we get 15. Because it is 30, you divide by 2, you get 15, and so on. So unless you have any question, unless you have any question, we come to the end of our class for today. Go and do more practice for those questions from your past papers, and then will be whatever you don't understand, then there is always room to ask. So let's meet in our next class.